Welcome to Silicon Valley Asian Business Talk.
Hello, everyone. This is Roger Chen from University of San Francisco Center for Business Studies and Innovation, Asia Pacific. Welcome, BV Jagadeesh, and also thank you for joining our interview program. Would you please briefly introduce yourself?
Yes. First of all, Roger, thank you so much for having me as part of this. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be associated with University of San Francisco and then be part of this. I came to this country in 1982, and I actually had already finished my master's degree in India itself, and I had worked for a couple of years, and I happened to just get a job in a Silicon Valley high technology company. And since then, pretty much I have worked all my life until I started my own in 1993. I pretty much had worked in mostly startup companies. So I was sort of fortunate to work with different kinds of startup companies so that even though I was an engineer for many, many years, I got to actually see different aspects of building the product and then bringing the product to the market as well. I started my own first company end of 1993, which is Excellence Communications, where we pioneered the whole concept of internet data centers. We had version 1 of the AWS cloud that we used to offer to our customers. The company, we went public in 1998. I left the company in 2000 to start another company called NetScaler, which actually solved the problem for this hyper growth that the data centers were experiencing because of the server inefficiency. We dramatically reduced almost like 10:1 in terms of the number of servers that people used to deploy before to people deployed with the NetScaler. So that reduced tremendous data center footprint consumption, power consumption, the overall cost of running a data center for corporations. And that company, as you know, after 9/11, the entire market sort of collapsed. So we'll discuss that a little bit later. But eventually we came back and we built a flagship product, the NetScaler load balancers, which then started to do extremely well. And in 2005, Citrix came forward to acquire us. So for the last 10, 12 years or so, I've been primarily focused as an angel investor, and I'm working with the next generation of entrepreneurs, mostly in B2B and enterprise infrastructure, software, SaaS companies. About 40% of my time I spend on nonprofit organizations, both in the US as well as in India.
Discussion topic: when to invest to grow the business.
You have seen kind of issues, the pace of the investment, the pace of the spending money, resources to formalize a lot of internal operations or hiring more people, and versus, whether the product is, kind of the demand is enough to match the resource investment. Because I've seen some companies, they kind of invest too much ahead of the demand that end up with a bigger problem. But of course, you have to invest to prepare for the scaling up. So have you seen kind of companies facing this kind of a, left foot, right foot, and how much the left foot will lead the right foot, things like that, the investment demand, those kind of issues to balance it?
So there are two challenges that one needs to be aware of. One is, before you found this product market fit. And by the way, one of my friends beautifully defined, when do you really start scaling up your sales and marketing organization is when you have found that product market fit. And the definition of the product market fit at that stage, when you start to scale the organization, is when a ordinary salesperson in your organization, right, can sell to an ordinary customer.
Good point.
Not a very technically qualified customer, right? An ordinary customer and an ordinary sales guy, which means he or she should be able to understand your presentation, your case studies, your target market, all of these things. And he or she should know how to present your company, the value proposition, all of that stuff to an ordinary customer who can also understand what your product is doing. If you can get to that stage, that means you have really hit the product market fit, meaning you have really built the product with a great user interface, with easy to install, easy to communicate, and the value proposition is well understood, all of these things. So that means the preparation to get to that stage where you really start to invest in sales and marketing heavily is all these step-by-step aspect of making the product very easy to use, better user experience, better user interface, right? Better management tools, all of these different aspects on the product, and understanding the value proposition and messaging that properly, creating a PowerPoint presentation that tells the story properly, right? All this back-end work, combination of product and product marketing and product management, doing their work properly. And then if you invest in sales and marketing, then your sales cycle will be a lot less, your sales productivity will be high, right? And your unit economics really starts to look better. So this is ideal. A lot of entrepreneurs, they get excited when they see 10 customers using the product, and some VP sales joins them, and this VP sales will create this spreadsheet. And by the way, I know several companies that have gone down because of this mistake, right? So the VP sales will give a spreadsheet saying that, look, if I hire 10 salespeople, 10 sales teams, each sales team is going to produce $2 million a year. That means year one, I'm going to have $20 million from 10 salespeople. If I make that into 20, I'm going to have $40 million in revenues. So why don't we just go ahead and then start building the sales force, right? Now, when you build the sales force, whatever, 10 sales team, each sales team typically would cost $500,000.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So if I go put a sales team in New York, a technical guy and a sales guy selling to the enterprise, it's going to cost me minimum $500,000.
Yeah.
And if the company has not produced enough leads, if the company does not have all the story well created, what the sales team that is sitting in New York is just thumb twisting, and company is losing $500,000.
Right.
And you have 20 teams, right? That's $10 million right there. It's gone.
Right.
So when you raise money, this money is being used completely inefficiently. And so many companies have gone under because of that mistake. So a right entrepreneur needs to really invest in sales and marketing once you start seeing this product market fit. I mean, that doesn't mean you should not have salespeople. You must have salespeople, right? Have maybe, like in NetScaler, until we found the product market fit, we had like 4 or 5 sales teams. That's it. And every quarter, I used to visit every one of these places and spend minimum 3 to 4 days with the sales team and the customers to understand, are they getting, because sitting in HQ, you are in the midst of all the information that is flowing. But if you're sitting remotely in Texas, in New York, or Washington, DC, or somewhere, Chicago, they don't have access to that information.
Yeah.
Right? So I used to make it a point to go and spend like 2 or 3 days in every one of these locations, just so I understand the pain of the sales team and I understand the pain of the customer, and then bring the feedback into the company to provide the necessary support. So that is what is needed to build that initial success and then carefully investing to grow to the next level.
Actually, BV, I really love your kind of insights. Also earlier you mentioned about a real indicator of the product market fit is when ordinary salespeople can sell to an ordinary customer. Then probably that's a time you should invest or invest resources to really scale up. You also mentioned about you visit different branch organizations to truly understand the market-facing issue, the pain points of the salespeople, to help you to decide whether it's the right time to scale up or invest. So when you kind of could you go a little bit deeper when you talk to these salespeople, for example, to really assess whether the market or whether your company is truly ready for scaling up or investing in those things? What specific kind of issues you kind of pay attention to when you listen to? Because earlier you also mentioned about the leads. How many leads do you generate? So could you give us a little bit more kind of a details to kind of help you to make judgment whether you should invest or whether it's still too early?
So the simplest way to know that you are ready to actually add another sales team is if the sales guys that you have, the sales team that you have, are extremely busy, and they're getting to a stage where they don't have time to, when you give a new lead to them, they don't have time to process that lead, right? So that's a good sign. Of course, you need to make sure, are they they don't have the time because they are working on things that should have been done by someone else. Then you need to offload that into the corporate or into somebody else who can provide them that support. Because the sales person and the sales technical guy's job is to primarily support the customer, right? He or she should not be spending a lot of cycles on inefficient and back-end kind of stuff. So you need to provide like sales ops support to help these guys to offload all that overheads. And that way, they are very productive and they are constantly either hunting for new customers or new opportunities within the customer, right? So the first step is when the sales team has more leads that they can handle, then I know if I add another sales team over here, I can start making them productive almost immediately. So those are the kind of things. So we call this as the sales heat map. So you look at the data in every one of the regions.
Oh, BV, just for the audience to clarify, also for my students, are you saying the sales hit map?
No, heat map. Heat.
Oh, heat map. Oh, okay.
Yeah, think of if there is a fire going on, then there is a fire, on the map, right? So it's the same way. You map out all your regions and you look at various metrics in those regions. That is number of leads, active leads that you have, right? Number of proof of concepts that is going on, and number of existing customers who are coming back to buy more, right? So you define a number of channel partners that are engaged, what kind of leads these channel partners are giving to you. So today you have all this data and you map this data for each of the regions, and you can tell, like if I have a sales team, I will have an idea. Typically they can handle anywhere from 15 to 20 accounts, right? So if I don't have 15 to 20 activities in that heat map, then the existing sales guys themselves can actually do the job. Now, when it starts to get to more than 15 to 20, then things will start falling apart. And that's when you have to inject another sales team.
That's great.
So this is a very mathematical stuff, actually, if you think of it, right? The very, very mathematical stuff. So very analytical, very mathematical. And somebody needs to observe all these things. And if you have a good sales ops kind of a person, that's the role of that sales ops person. If you don't have that, then you need to have your finance guy to map these kind of things. And you as a CEO, you shouldn't be doing this work, but you should be guiding these principles to different people so that they actually watch all these things and present the data to you.
Right, right. Actually, I love your, I was using today's words, very, very analytical, but also very, very granular, right?
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why this whole attention to details, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
The role that the founder CEO must learn. If the founder CEO I didn't have those qualities. I was just an engineer, say software programmer. When you are in that role, you need to have the interest to learn these things rather than, oh, I don't like finance. Oh, I don't like operations, right? But as a CEO, you need to know the details of all of these things, and you need to hire the right people to go and execute on that. So you're not micromanaging, but you are ensuring that the wheel is actually spinning properly.
Yeah, I like your point. Yeah, I like your point about the micromanaging and also pay attention to detail. It's a very interesting balance between the two.
Right. Because if you micromanage, you cannot attract the top talent.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Yeah, people will leave. Best talents will not join you if you micromanage.
Thank you for watching.